Hey everyone, welcome to part 3 of this collab. So, hey, as you can see I do have Freya by the way. I didn't get Freya last week, I got Freya this Tuesday, so I haven't had very much time to test out Freya, but I have been using her in Arena, so we'll be trying Freya out properly later today, towards the end. And today, it's mostly going to be focused on the new unit obviously and the arc, so we'll be looking at that first. And the event, honestly, there hasn't been very much changes to the event or updates to the event, but we'll be looking at later anyways. This unit, he looks interesting to me so far. Some people had kind of mixed feelings about him, but I think I still don't know how to pronounce his name properly. It doesn't look like Cloud. It can't be. It's like Claude or something. I'm gonna try not to pronounce it because it's gonna annoy people, but let's have a look at him. So he's technically the part 1 of the Star Ocean collab, but it's part 3 of the whole collab in general, so the same collab medals appear in part 1 to part 4. Yeah, Claude is what I think that makes the most sense to me. Like Nael, I know how to pronounce her name now, but let's have a look at this unit. I'm glad that they do have this down here so it reminds you, because this is part 3, and some people may not think that be able to use the same medals, but I do really like that about this collab, honestly, the same medals. So let's have a look at Claude C. Kenny. Honestly, I haven't looked too much at him. I've seen a bit, I saw his video, his skills, that's kind of it. I haven't really looked too much into this unit, so most of this is going to be kind of my first impressions, but I do have some things that I think he could do pretty well, like, once we get into his kit you can see he's mostly focused around hitting human type enemies, which is usually for PvP, but let's see. Stats overall looking fine. He's a soldier type. Don't really say much about that, do I? Weak to illness is going to be a problem. We've seen this on Lenneth Valkyrie as well. She's got weak to illness, I believe, too. So it's a common thing with these units, I think. I mean, we don't usually get that, but it's just a problem because if he's going to be a tank, which he could be, then this will become a problem. So you're going to need some way to increase your resistance for illness if you do want to make him a tank, I think. But the only good thing is that he isn't weak to anything else, and he has resistance to curse, which is always nice because you want him to use his skills, and he has nil to stun, which stun, in my opinion, is always the most useful one, because if you have weak to stun, I just find it's very annoying, because occasionally I'll still get stunned in arena for some reason. Even when I have resistance to stun, I don't know how I get stunned, it just happens, but stun is just annoying, probably the most annoying element in general, so let's have a look at a village about these, because look, they're just boring skills, but they look different when you actually try them out and see his animations and everything. So, skill 1, frontal long range fire combo attack, so long range is nice. Skill 2, frontal medium area fire combo attack. Okay, but I think the main skill right here, that I know the most about is skill 3. I'm quite excited about his skill 3. I'm hoping it has 2 skill stocks and not 1, but I don't know yet, I haven't tried them out yet. Frontal wide area fire combo attack is kind of basic, but the thing about the skill is it's very fast. I saw it in the video, it looks very fast, and 21 hits for a skill 3. If you make him dual wield, which you can, then his skill 3 is going to do a lot of damage. 42 hits dual wield on a skill 3, that's going to be pretty crazy. The highest hits we've had on a skill 3, at what I can think of, Shift Lagrabos, 25 hits, but he has only 1 skill stock of his skill 3 and he's a mage, so it kind of doesn't really count, but he can do physical damage, so I guess it counts, but that's just one unit I can think of. So 21 hit counts for a skill 3 is pretty amazing. And then a special powerful fire combo attack to one enemy is just, I wouldn't use it probably. These skills, to me, I don't get excited when I read this because they're just basic and boring, and the only real way you can see how good they are is if you try out the units. So you can't really gather much from this. It really depends on the hit counts and how fast they are, but from the video I saw, all of the skills seem pretty fast to me, so I'm hoping his DPS should be pretty decent. Even if it's not, skill 3 definitely is going to be good DPS no matter what, because I've seen that. It's pretty crazy. If you can spam that, that'd be great. So the traits, gets interesting, like always. Skill and special damage, 30%, damage cap 25,000. So, one thing I want to mention about this unit is he can be single wield or dual wield. I don't know why dual wield is a thing in this unit, because I thought it was going to be a single wield fire DPS, which it can be, but if you're using him in PvE against bosses and stuff, then you're going to want dual wield, because that DPS increase for dual wield is just a lot higher than single wield. You would want to use single wield for PvP in arena. If you want to use him in arena, then you want to use single wield probably, because that's just going to be way better. But the good thing about this is the damage and damage cap is just active all the time, so you don't need to worry about it. It's skill and special damage and damage cap, so I like that this trait has this, because it's just, you get that no matter what you do. You don't have to worry about using a specific weapon or anything. Allows equipping of all weapon types. That's great, because you may be limited on weapon equipments, or you may have some good weapons that you might want to use. I think obviously you would at least want one sword on him. If you're doing dual wield, then your second weapon can be literally anything you want, apart from a staff. If you're crazy enough to do a staff, you could, but why would you do that? You could put on Trishula, so that gives you the option to do that, and literally any other weapon you want. But if you're using him single wield, you'll probably still want a sword, but I'm going to be checking at the skills in a minute just to see what kind of weapon boost he has. I think he does have some sword boost, because he's using a sword, so kind of want a sword. But if you want him to be a proper tank, spears are they're very good for that. So, could be an option, but I don't know. I don't know why the music disappeared, it's weird. Equipped weapon strength 100% and armor defense 100%. So, it's just a little bonus stat, so it's the weapon strength is 100%, so basically doubling the weapon strength is all it's doing, and doubling the armor defense if you have an armor equipped. Damage taken minus 20%, armor equipped, boost effect to minus 40%. So here's where it gets interesting, right? So if you have an armor equipped, then you take 40% less damage, right? But if you are dual wield, then you only take minus 20% less damage. So it's interesting. It's going to make more sense once we go into his skills, but I'm interested in how he is with his skills and everything, because he's kind of not specifically aimed towards using dual wield and that's it, or only single wield. He can do both, and we don't really get units like this. Obviously you could put single wield on some units that use dual wield, but it's not always a viable option. Trait 2, I do like this too, but it's a more conditional one. Won't flinch from most attacks from soldier and knight types. So there you go, soldier and knight types, but I just think it's a little bit of a problem because it's very specific. So with the current arena meta, most people are using Summer Sarah, and she's going to be a sniper type. So he's still going to get flinch from Summer Sarah, which can be a problem if you're using him and going up against Sarah. So just one thing to think about, but not being able to flinch from soldier and knight types, it does help. It's just doesn't include everyone, like Prefect of God Mia and Summer Sarah, kind of the two that I can think of, and any other machine types or god types that are in arena currently. He's still going to get flinch from them, and you know how annoying flinch is, so yeah. But damage to human types plus 50%, and damage from human types minus 25%. I really like this, honestly, because 50% damage is quite a lot on a trait, and you add the extra 30% from his trait 1 as well. It's pretty good. and you also take less damage from human types, soldier, knight, sniper, sorcerer. And then the special critical damage cap, because why not? I don't know why the special critical damage cap's there. It shouldn't be. It's kind of useless on this trait. But the rest of the trait, I like it. Honestly, if you just look at what these traits give already, it's actually quite impressive. Because if you look at the numbers, you got 50% damage here and 30% damage there. So 8% damage. That's great on a trait, on 2 traits. But if you also look at the damage mitigation you're getting from these traits alone, if you have an armor equipped, you're taking up minus 40% damage. So that's great. But if you're also being attacked by human type, then also another minus 25%. So those two by themselves make him pretty tanky, as long as you're fighting human enemies. So this is pretty promising to me, and I don't know how he's going to perform in Arena, but I expect him to do pretty well, because I think he'll be pretty tanky and be able to do good damage as well, because what it seems like from these traits alone, I'm quite happy with this. The only problem that I'm seeing is they're very specific to human types, so a lot of his kit you can't really use properly if you're using him for a DPS against most bosses, because they're not human types or anything that's not a human type. So bit of a problem, but he's probably going to be super strong against any human type enemy that you find, I think. So skills, interesting skills: attack up max, defense up max, nice stuff. Critical up 3, advanced guard vitals. It's not advanced aim vitals, it's guard vitals, because you take less critical damage. It's funny. Soldier Buster is nice. Give physical attack, special counter, and anti-soldier type effect. So he's gonna do ridiculous damage against soldier types. Soldier Mastery, give physical and magic attack, special blah blah, anti-sniper type effect. Less damage from snipers. That will help a bit against Summer Sarah. A bit. It would have been nice if he also had Knight Slayer, because those are usually tanks. Knights are mostly tanks. So that would have been nice, but Soldier Slayer and Sniper Slayer is what he does have, and I think that's the only 2 Slayers he's got, but that's still okay. They're all human types anyways, so that's fine. An anti-type boost. You could put on any other Slayer if you want to. Auto Grab Brave is just nice. I don't know why he doesn't have some kind of auto protection or auto forts or something, and maybe he does down at the bottom, but it's not right here. Auto critical and haste is nice. These are just nice DPS skills to have on any unit. Awaken, Fire High Drive, Fire Mega Drive, Fire Attack Raise 3, so we've got some good damage skills and some good damage caps. Pose of Glory is just nice. And now we get onto the weird part. So here's the thing. You got favored swords, so you get more damage cap if you're single wield. Makes sense. And you got two-handed sword boost 3, more damage and damage cap. Right, sure. And then you also got dual wield. And I still think these types of units are weird, but honestly, this unit, Claude, makes more sense to me why he has dual wield and these skills, favored sword, in the same kit. I understand why he has it, because his traits also synergize with it too. Like his trait 1, if you have an armor equipped, it boosts the effect to minus 40%. You know, it makes sense because his kit is kind of revolved around that. So I think that's fine. Even though you're going to be missing out on a few of these skills if you're doing dual wield or single wield, you're going to be missing out on a few skills, but it's fine, I think. Dual wield sword boost and sword giga boost, so 3000 damage cap, 30% damage. So here's when my ideas start popping into my head. So if you're using him dual wield, you're definitely going to want one sword, and then your other weapon can be literally anything you want. That's fine. But different story when it comes to single wields. So if you want single wield high damage, then obviously sword is your best option, because you're getting 30% damage here, and you're also getting another 40% damage here, so you definitely want a sword if you want single wield damage. But if you want him to be even more tanky, then you can use a spear, but the only problem with using a spear is you're missing out on quite a lot of damage from these sword boosts, so I don't know if that's a viable option. I mean, I think it could be. It's just if you build him a full tank with a spear, you're going to be missing out on a lot of damage, and he's probably not going to be able to do much damage at all at that point. So it's kind of build him a full tank with a spear and do no damage, or kind of build a hybrid with a sword, make him tanky. I think that's still the best option. Allow him to be able to do strong damage, but at the same time able to tank quite a lot of skills. So I think kind of got to find a balance there, depending on if you want him to be super tanky. If you want him to be your main tank, then yes, using a spear would make sense. But you could still make him tanky with a sword if you want. You don't need to use a spear. It's just something I'm thinking about, because spear boost and high boost give less damage taken, so they're great. But you got 30, 60, 70% damage. You don't really want to lose out on 70% damage, do you? No. You get 100% damage for using one weapon, one sword. That's pretty nice. But yeah, those are those skills. Special boost 3, don't care. Skill charge 3 and quick trigger, I actually like these skills, especially quick trigger because it's more expensive than these normal skill charge skills. Indomitable spirit, it's just nice to have. Parry. So these are some skills that do help with him taking less damage. That's nice. He doesn't have any guard skills, which is fine because he can not flinch from soldier and whatever other type enemies, so that's okay. Overdrive, chance of special to deal crit damage, special crit damage cap, whatever, don't really care honestly. These are the unique skills, there are quite a few. Phase gun, skill and special damage, 30% damage cap, 25,000 each wave until skills are special are used 3 times. This is an interesting skill to me, but does have a few problems. Regular attack damage cap, 8,000, it's weird. So the problem with this is, yes, his damage cap's going to be insane for the first 3 times he uses a skill, each wave. But after that, I think I did the math numbers, and it turns out his base damage cap with everything unlocked is going to be 42,000 without phase gun. So with phase gun active, you're going to be getting 25,000 on top of that. I can't bother to do math, I can do it, I don't want to. So you can see that his damage cap can be pretty crazy, but after you use your first 3 skills, your damage cap drops off quite a lot, and if you're using him on dual wield, which you will be in PvE, for his maximum damage, then I'm a tiny bit worried about it, because his DPS on his first 3 skills are going to be like probably on the top end that we've seen in this game, definitely. For a skill 3, it's going to be so good, but after you've used those 3 skills afterwards, it's just going to be, I don't know, I don't know if it's going to be underwhelming or if it's still going to be strong. I don't know, we'll have to kind of wait and see how it performs, but I'm hoping he can get enough damage caps from other places like his paid equipment and arcs and stuff and learnable skills. Now I think about it, he should be able to reach 50,000 damage cap dual wield without this, and 50,000 is actually a solid number for a dual wield unit, so I think his DPS without this is still going to be pretty crazy. So it's got some potential, honestly. Good PvP unit, PvP skills, but also quite a lot of damage cap for PvE against bosses, and DPS seems strong. Bout End, restore 1 skill stock for all skills and restore HP. Only going to be useful in PvE because you can't do anything with that in Arena, it doesn't do anything. And when physically attacking, chance to boost unit strength by 100% and deal damage. So this is an interesting one. It's not a buff or anything, it's a passive skill. So what I'm understanding from this is, let's say you've got 3,000 strength, to make it easy to understand. You've got 3,000 strength when you're using skills. Every so often, a few of your hits are going to be equivalent to if that unit had 6,000 strength instead of 3,000. So that is pretty good, because if you have high strength, this is going to be pretty amazing, and occasionally you'll see some high numbers from him from this, I think. So it's pretty nice. it is mostly a PvP skill, honestly, because you want to cap basically all of your hits in PvE, so it's a nice PvP skill. I don't know what the chance of it is, but hopefully it's a decent enough chance of most hits. And then you've got the same thing, but defense. And this reminds me of Vayne, right? He is quite similar. He's got his sand wall buff and his sand weapon buff for a lot of defense and a lot of strength. This unit is kind of similar, but it's not a buff. It just randomly happens when you're attacking or getting hit, so it's not as reliable, but it technically means you can have both active at the same time, because you can keep using your skills and do a lot of damage, and when you're getting attacked, let's say you are not getting flinched and you're using a skill, but you're also getting attacked at the same time, then these could both be active. It could be pretty good. And then the last skill here, continuous speed, could help, honestly. Physical damage from soldier and sniper types minus 20%. Armor equipped boost effect of minus 40% instead. That's crazy. You know why? Because of the numbers. Soldier and sniper types. Sniper types. Summer Sarah, sniper type. I am seeing some good numbers here. So minus 40% there, and then another minus 40% here is minus 80%. And then you've got another minus 25%, so you're always going to be taking minus 105% from soldier types if you have an armor equipped, which that's pretty high, and you could improve that with auto protection and guard skills and crazy stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty great. And then you've also got damage cap skills for a 6th enhance and special damage caps, less physical damage taken. I like less physical damage taken, that's actually good for him. What I'm seeing from his skills, I think they're pretty interesting, honestly. And I can see him being a strong unit. So far, all 3 units have been pretty strong. Lenneth Valkyrie is a decent PvP unit and has good DPS. Freya is questionable, but she's still very strong and she can actually do good damage in arena, and her DPS, well, her damage in PvE is also pretty solid. So yeah, so far all these units are pretty strong, honestly. You can't go wrong with any of them so far. I think that's it about his skills. Good, I can see some high damage potential as well as good damage mitigation from physical attacks and good DPS too. One thing to mention is when it says damage taken minus 20%, it's all damage. So if you have an armor equipped, you'll also take a minus 40% less damage from magic attacks. That's pretty great. And his trait 2 is the same thing, where it's damage from human type enemies. So that includes magic attacks. This one is only physical damage, which is fine, but his traits are all damage. Very nice kit. Honestly, I definitely want to get him because he's the type of unit that I would enjoy using, because at the stage of the game that I'm in, I think PvP units are the most fun to me and where I can see them being the most useful, because a normal boss killer unit I don't really need anymore because I don't really have any content that I can use him in. The only content that I have available for me and my account is Arena right now, and that's why I enjoy these types of arena units, because I can just mess around with teams and I enjoy that a lot. So I think it's going to be a fun unit. He does have minus 10 to ice, which could be a problem when fighting Summer Sarah for sure, but we'll have to see how he performs. He's probably still going to be able to, he's probably still going to die from Summer Sarah, but hopefully tank well enough. So Claude, pretty good unit. Honestly, I'm excited to get him and try him out, but I don't know if we'll get him today. Hopefully we can, because he is a unit that I will get no matter what happens. So if it's not today, then it's going to be next week, next Thursday, because part 4 is next Thursday, and at that point I'm probably going to end up pitting everything that I want. So let's have a look at the arc. This arc, also interesting, but honestly I'm not super excited about this arc. It doesn't have very much that I'm excited to use, and I still prefer the part 1 arc, honestly. That's my favourite one at the moment because of the skill that makes the unit take less physical damage. I just think that's useful. I still don't have it, and I will be pitying it if I don't get it in the next week. But let's have a look at this arc first. One thing to mention, HP and strength stats pretty high. Arc trait, there's a lot to this trait, so interesting. Skill special counter damage plus 25% to enemies with the same type as unit. So, same type as unit, I usually don't really like that because it's kind of specific and it's not reliable enough. So we don't have many skills like that. We have a few, but I never really use them because they're specific, and if you really want to benefit from it 100% of the time, then you kind of need mimicry skills and a lot of them. So for that reason, I never really care about it. But one thing that is good is if you're up against a boss that you know what their type is, you could just put on a mimicry skill for 2 SC and you'll be able to get this plus 25% damage all the time against that specific boss. But that's building specifically just to use an arc trait, and I don't really do that. So, something to think about. When physically attacked, so when you're getting hit by physical attacks, there's a chance to activate a powerful counter. So having a chance to activate a counter on an arc trait, something we haven't seen, I think. I'm wondering if this can stack with the counter skill, because if it can technically have 2 chances of activating a different counter and overall increase your chance of activating a counter, it could be decent. But overall, counter in general is just not that strong. On Megius, counter's decent, but it's still not really that crazy, and counter's still not that good that I would want to specifically equip every single counter skill on a unit. It's just not worth it. It's just units like Megius who has counter skills on him already. Maybe it could be useful, but I never really care too much about counter. Most people don't. When counter is active, damage taken minus 30%. Now this is a good thing, and this is where I'm starting to see a lot of good things with this arc trait, because Megius could benefit from this arc trait quite a lot, because it's mostly aimed towards counter, and Megius does have counter skills like I said, so maybe it'll be good for him, potentially. When physically attacking, boost damage based on closeness of the enemy, maximum of 20%, and cut physical damage taken based on closeness of the enemy. So, if you read everything that this arc trait offers, it's actually a pretty strong arc trait. The only problem with it is that they're more specific, so you have to be the same type as the enemy to do more damage, and you have to have counter active to take less damage. So when you are countering, you take less damage, and when you are physically attacking, you boost the damage based on how close you are, and you take less damage based on how close you are too. I think, honestly, this arc trait is mostly for Megius right now, and if I did have this arc, I think thinking about using this on Megius would be a good option, honestly, and trying to have a counter Megius build with a lot of damage and stuff could be fun, but that's the only unit that I can think of that could use this arc trait pretty well. There aren't really any other units that would benefit from this, but if you ignore the counterpart, I still think it's pretty solid, honestly, because if you're using a unit that is all about being close up with their skills, and they have the same type as the enemy, then you're doing 45% more damage if you're super close and the same type as the enemy. So that is great, and it's not locked to a specific element. So that's really good, and you're also going to take less damage. So this arc trait has potential, it really does. It's just kind of specific, and you really got to think about having a build focused on this, and a certain unit needs to, you know, be able to benefit from most of these boosts, otherwise you're better off using something else. It's an interesting art trait and kind of better than I was thinking, but would I really want to get it that badly? I don't think so, because we have so many arcs. Learnable skills, honestly, I'm not too excited about this. Counter, Fighting Spirit 2, Blessed Speed, Counter Boost 2, most of these I don't really care about. Counter Boost 2, more counter damage and damage cap. You could put it on Megius, but is 7SC for more counter damage, is it really going to help? I don't know. Counter damage needs to be quite high for it to be able to do much. The main skill here though, one battle to decide it all. Physical damage minus 15% from enemies with the same type as unit. This one's a very good one. For 6SC it's actually worth it. When I read this skill I was hoping it was going to be 6SC because 6SC is the right price for this type of skill. The only problem is obviously you've got to have the same type as the enemy that's attacking you, but depending on the content that you're in and the unit that you're using, I think this will be useful. But if you're using this on a tank, most cases it's not going to be useful because there aren't going to be DPS, damage dealer knight types attacking a knight tank, is there? No. So, it's something to think about. I just don't see myself using it too much, but if I was using a soldier type, would I use this skill on them? I don't know. It's just very specific, because from enemies with the same type as the unit for 6SC, or I could use something else that is guaranteed to always be active, you know. But I still think it's a decent skill, honestly. Soldier Buster, whatever. Honestly, don't care about the Buster skills because Slayers are just cheaper, so they're better because they're cheaper, and only physical attacks. You don't really need special or counter Slayers, do you? No. So, learnable skills, not really anything too exciting, honestly. There's only one unique skill here, which is this one, and then the rest are kind of whatever. The Archive reward, actually not terrible. It's interesting. It's a fire sword. Physical damage 10%, kind of low, but you're also getting physical damage plus 15% for the second hit dual wield type skills. So it's not bad because you're getting plus 25% damage for your second hit dual wield type skills, but it's not competitive because Muramasa gives plus 25% physical damage all the time, so it's just better than this sword. That's why I don't think this sword is that great. It's okay, it's not terrible, but it's just not that amazing because we have better options. But if you need a fire sword, you could use this. Maybe, but I don't really care too much. We probably have other sword options, yes we do. Kagosuchi sword, if you have that UR arc, then it has a sword and that you can God Forge, I think, and it gives quite a lot of fire physical damage. So this sword isn't that amazing, but if it's your only option as a fire sword, then yes, it can be useful. So about this arc, I think it's okay, and it would be nice to have, but would I want to pity it? Honestly, I don't think so, because I just thinking that most of the stuff that this arc brings, I probably wouldn't use very much. The arc trait is actually something I could see myself using a few times, and maybe even in Guild versus Guild this could be useful, and on Megius and stuff like that. Could be good, honestly, but that's kind of it. The learnable skills, I don't really care too much. They could be okay. Archive reward is okay. It's just an okay arc, a decent trait. That's kind of it. Honestly, I would prefer the unit over the arc in this banner. I think the value is in the unit over the arc, definitely. The unit I could see him being a good DPS unit and a good PvP unit, and most units don't fit both roles. They usually just focus on one role. Like, you get a strong DPS unit, but they don't work well in arena. That's just kind of what happens. But Claude, pretty good. Honestly, the arc is okay. We will be pulling on this banner later. I'm hoping we get both, but I would rather get the unit over the arc. That's just my preference. The other part 2 and part 3 banners are still here, so you still have a choice. You can still do these daily gacha pulls, by the way, if you've got any paid crystals. I've been doing most of those, and I did get Freya from one of these daily gacha pulls on Tuesday, so that's why it's always worth doing it if you can. Let's have a look at trading space next, because we've got to have a look at his paid equipment. I don't know what they are, I haven't seen them yet. All I know is he has a sword and an accessory. So I expect that's a fire sword, so let's see what it gives. Fire damage 25%, pretty good. Damage cap 2000, pretty good too. And physical damage taken minus 10%. You know what? For a sword, that's actually great, honestly, because taking less physical damage, if you want him to be a tank, this sword is going to allow you to be a tank and use a sword at the same time. So I like this sword, even though it's very basic, like incredibly basic, and kind of just not great. If you are using him in PvE for DPS, then you don't really need this sword, because you can use any other sword. We've got a lot of sword options. But for arena, you're getting 25% more damage and you're taking less physical damage. For that reason, I think he'll be a good unit with this sword. This sword will be good for him. So, actually a pretty good sword. Let's have a look at the accessory next. Maybe it's more interesting. HP strength, defense, okay. Nullify enemy anti-soldier type effects. God damn it. Why? Why did you do this? Jesus. Damage taken from non-boss enemies. I'm gonna jump out this window, so I swear to God. This is an accessory nullifying enemy anti-soldier type effects. Get flashbacks of Jian. Her paid clothes is why she's such a good tank to this day. Yeah, so you can see how good this accessory is. Hey, how's it going? We're gonna be doing summons very soon. This accessory is pretty great. Honestly, in my opinion, I would rather have this accessory over the sword, because we have a lot of sword options, and it's an okay sword, but this accessory, if you care about PvP, you kinda need this, honestly. Because if you want him to be a tank, he needs this. And that's just... I shouldn't be saying this because it's a paid accessory, but not being able to take Slayer damage is just incredibly valuable, and for that reason, I'm looking forward to this unit already. I think he's going to be incredibly tanky. He's probably going to be one of the best tanks against human type enemies that we've got. I don't know if it's going to be on the same level as Jian. I don't think so. They're different units. They're not the same. But man, I think this accessory is very good. This sword, good too. They're both good. Here's my preference. Here's what I will say. So, if you care about PvE, if you need more damage cap and damage, then get this sword. That's going to be your best option for damage caps and PvE DPS. But if you care about arena and the upcoming guild versus guild, then 100% this accessory is going to be your option first. Don't even consider the sword if you care about PvP. That's how good this accessory is, and I can't say that enough. It's so good. So that's the paid equipments, and if you can't already tell, I'm going to be getting this accessory because I like PvP, and I definitely see myself using him in Arena and trying him out, seeing how he does, and in Guild versus Guild, it's just going to be even better. So I might want to get both. Honestly, I'm considering getting both because it allows him to take less damage and equip a sword to allow him to do more damage too. So, man, we have enough medals to pity stuff, but I'm still saving them, by the way. I did do more summons. So, that's his paid equipment. Honestly, he's pretty hype if you care about PvP. If you don't, then it's not going to be that exciting. Let's have a look at the challenges while we're here. I've done most of these. I can't get everything. There should be some tickets in here, that's why I want to collect these right now. And then we'll move over to the summons very soon. There's a part 3 ticket. Make sure to do the event to get the 10-pull ticket, because you never know, you could get something from those tickets. Best case scenario, we get the units and the arc, obviously, but I would like to get his paid equipments. I will be getting his paid equipments even if we don't get the unit today, because I'm going to be getting the unit no matter what happens at some point. So these bunnies, haven't talked about these bunnies. Basically they're just hopping around in the event map, and if you can't find any, it's because you need to progress the event more. I think I've gotten all of the bunnies. I can't get number 8 because it just doesn't exist right now. It just doesn't exist. I've done all the tours, all of the stages, everything, and there's no more bunnies yet, so I'm assuming those 2 bunnies should appear next Thursday in the part 4 update. That's probably where it's going to be. Now let's go to the event trading space, because they did add more to it, and I need these tickets right now. So we should have 16 tickets. That'd be nice. Hopefully this time we can get something new from the tickets. Best case scenario, we get anything new from the tickets. The arc or the unit, whatever. I want something new. Because Freya's summons weren't that great, honestly. They were okay, but not on the good end. I'll trade for everything else later. Let's go to summons now, because I really want this unit. I really do. I want to get this unit and both of his paid equipments and just make him incredibly tanky and strong in Arena. That's my goal right now. I would really like to get him. Let's use these tickets first. We got these 6 and then the 10-pull ticket. We have yet to get anything at all from tickets in all of these banners, so my hopes from these tickets incredibly low, considering nobody showed up. But it's a gold. I'll watch it, but I don't think anything is going to be in here unless there's animations. 2 wasn't enough. Stays at gold, which is sad. What does he do? Well, here's the thing, though, is yes, Claude can be a boring unit, but he's just a good unit, you know? He can be a DPS and a tank. I mean, it's kind of boring, honestly. Let's get a red from this 10-pull at least, to give some hope. So, Claude is just not really that much of a game-breaking, unique. He's not that unique, but Freya, red, give a red. You have to give, it's a blue, damn. I still think Claude's going to be pretty amazing. Let's get some animations, come on. We need to get a red, 1 red from this 10-pull, because it's a ticket. There's no way, well there is a way. Animation 1, not enough for a red. Kind of expected that, honestly, but we have still yet to get anything at all from tickets. Tickets have been terrible for me in this collab. we haven't gotten anything from tickets. But I'm gonna be doing the step gacha because I really want his paid equipments, both of them. I'll be getting both right now. If we don't get the units, then I'm probably just gonna, you know, wait a week and then come back in part 4 and get him in the next stream and use all my medals. This one's gonna be a skip because there can't be anything from these 2 summons. Come on, we need to get a red. We haven't gotten a red today yet, and we've done 18 pulls in total now. Usually you would get a red pretty soon, because getting a red in general is not super rare. It's just getting the rate up is more rare than getting a red. It's just ridiculous. Who's going to be showing up this time? Zekis? Daria. Okay. I bet it's a blue. I don't like it when a blue shows up, because it's just less luck. That's what it means. And the animation, there's nothing. There's no reds in here either. Only 3 pulls though. Now we're reaching 21 summons. I would like to get at least one thing new today. If it's the unit, I'll be incredibly happy because I think it's going to be very fun. And I would have a lot of fun trying him out as soon as possible. That's what I really want to do, is just build a team around him. Test out how tanky he can be. Test out his damage. I guess it's not happening, is it? No. We still need the credentials. What I did with Freya was I pulled the step gacha until I got both of her paid equipments, and then the rest from then on was just free crystals and daily pulls. That's going to be my same plan here. I'm going to get both of his paid equipments, and if we still don't have him, we will do free crystals after that, and then save until part 4. The Rhea, give a red this time. I saw a blue, and I just got very disappointed. Incredibly, there's nothing in here either. Two animations, there's a red, it's a unit. Can it be the unit? I really hope so, but I don't think so. There's probably only one red too. It has to be the unit. There's no way it's not the unit. Claude. It's still weird saying that. That's great. I'm glad I didn't have to pity him. Will I still be doing more summons? Yes. This is gonna be fun. This'll be fun. There's still another red, but I'm gonna ignore that red exists. It doesn't exist. Oh, okay, never mind. Sure. That's a good summon. You know, this could have been the arc, and that would have been so perfect. Great. Well, that's one down. Only thing we're missing is the arc. I did say I didn't really care about the arc, but I will still try for it a little. Let's go to trading space very quick. I'm going to be looking at the paid credentials, because I want to get all of these. So we're 21. I need to do 3 more 10 pulls. Actually, I don't. It's 2 more 10 pulls and then 9 singles to get both of these. I'm going to be doing that. It's just a given. It's going to happen. I just think he's such a good PvP unit, even though I haven't tested him yet. Let's get the paid equipments. This is the one unit that I'm actually happy with going further beyond just the paid equipments. I think he's that good. I haven't tried him though. Now we're just looking for the arc. There's a gold with Zekis by himself. Doesn't give me any hope, but the animations could potentially power up this gold orb to a red, but I just don't think that's going to happen. 1. No. I don't have any expectations or any hope, so I'm not fussed what we get at this point. We're at 31 credentials now. I'm going to do 1 more 10 pull, and then we do 9 singles. and then we'll get the sword. And then after that, I think I'm gonna stop pulling and just save for part 4, because the arc, I don't want to use 3 crystals for the arc. I would rather save the 3 crystals for part 4 in case. And we do have enough medals to... oh, this bad. We have enough medals to pity something. No red in here, there's no way there's red, there's no chance. 3 animations still not gonna give a red, there's no... There's a red? How is there a red? It's an arc animation too, you know what that means? SSR arc dupe time. Would have been a great time to get the limited arc, but no. Obviously it's not gonna happen. 9 singles. Then we'll get the paid sword and the accessory, and then we'll move over to the showcase stuff. I save 300 paid crystals from doing this. I'm going to be counting these for once. It's not going to be anything, I'm just going to skip these very fast. Incredibly fast. There's not going to be anything from here. Maybe 1 red if we're lucky, but probably not. Unless there's an arc. There's the limited arc, that'd be great. But it's not going to happen. Just imagine. No. Number 4. Five. 4 more after this one. No reds. Gets the arc. I hope so. Number 6. No. Number 7. Can we get 1 more red, please? 8. No. 1 more. That's the last summon. I might do a few singles to try and get a red, just to see if I can push my luck for the arc, but I don't want to. The smartest thing to do is take your time, take my time and do these. So that's what I'm doing. We are missing 2 arcs out of this collab at the moment. So let's go trading space and have a look at what we have so far. He's gonna be such a fun unit to me. Collab credentials, let's get both. Paid accessory. One of the best accessories ever for this unit. And the sword, there you go. There's both, and now we can save the rest. How we're doing? I'm still not gonna get this, I'm skipping that. I don't want that. 4 medals, we're at 320. So, hear me out. If my plan for the moment, so next Thursday we would be at 334 medals if I were to do 2 single daily pulls each day. Let's just round that down to 330. So we'll be at 330 medals and missing 2 arcs. If I were to do 70 pulls, that will bring it up to 400, and then I'll be able to pity 2 limited arcs. That's kind of my plan, I think, for the moment. I'm going to do 70 pulls, get 70 medals in part 4, and then use those 400 medals to pity 2 different limited arcs. That's going to be my plan, and hopefully the part 4 unit and arc I can get in those 70 pulls. If we can, then we would be able to get literally everything from this collab, and that's actually me being smart for once. It really is. That's a very smart idea, so I'm going to be doing that. For that reason, we're not going to be doing any more summons today, but we did get the unit. How are we doing on crystals? I've been saving a bit. Looking okay, honestly. That's fine. Collab challenge, we get more crystals here. I'll tell you how I've been getting free crystals. Is these mission rewards. I managed to get some crystals from these recently. And every time you get a unit to level 100, you get 1000 crystals. So I'll be able to get another 1000 crystals there once he's level 100, which I will be doing in a few seconds. Let's switch over to Steam right now, because we're not going to be on emulator anymore. Open up this. So the plan for the rest of this stream is going to be obviously building Claude is our priority for the moment, and mess around with him quite a lot. And then towards the end we will be trying out Freya in arena, because honestly she's not terrible. She isn't fully built, it's not a perfect build because she's only level 108 right now, but I did try and speed farm her on Tuesday for a couple hours and managed to get her built at least somewhat decent enough to work. So we'll be doing that soon. Let's put him in this event team. He is one of those units that I'm happy about getting, honestly. He's pretty good. All of these collab units so far, can't go wrong with any of them. Let's use one of these, it's just going to save time. We got these from the login, so everyone's going to have 3 of those. I usually try and save them, but I want to use one right now. 610 XP, getting closer to that level 53. That's going to be nice. Right, let's enhance this and get his 5th enhanced skills. Make him on my home page. Yeah, and then learn the rest of the skills. So, what's his ward? Fire damage. Okay, fine, sure. Rock explosion. I'm looking forward to trying out this unit. We'll try him in the test stage first, I guess, because that's what we have been doing. HP. So, I'll tell you what I've been doing over the past week. Obviously I've been doing the event, and that's kind of the main thing, and some arena and stuff, but haven't been playing too much. I just got into Honkai Impact over the last few days. Been pretty fun, honestly. I play way too many miHoYo games, HoYoverse games. I play pretty much all of them. All 3 of the main games they have, I play all of them. I just enjoy them too much. I'm not going to unlock this ward yet. That's all of the skills. So now, that was quite easy, honestly. Prisms, I got 2. I'll be able to get 1 more from the event somewhere. Haven't checked, I think it's in the tours or something. Let's have a look at equipment. So, recommended equipment for Claude is going to be a interesting one, because he can equip every single weapon, and he can be single wield or dual wield. So this is going to be a bit of a complicated part of this stream or video whenever you're watching this, because it depends on the content that you're using him in. If you're using him in arena, let's talk about that in a bit. Let's focus on a PvE build for DPS first. So obviously his paid sword is going to be his best option for both arena and PvE. So that's a given, but if you don't have that, you don't need it. There are other options. Obviously you kind of need at least 1 sword. So for PvE, it depends on how hard you're hitting. If you're hitting damage cap, yes, you could put on Scarlet Blade. if you want to benefit from Goddess Kiss and abuse Honey Elixir and stuff like that, then this sword is the one I was talking about earlier. This one is better than the Limited Arc sword, but it is from a UR Archive reward, so you may not have it. But if you do, definitely consider using this, because this is a very good one and probably the best for a fire unit. Definitely. Other options, not too many. This one is from the event, but I probably wouldn't recommend to use that. There are a few other ones, I guess, but they're not that amazing. If you move over to just normal swords, it gets better, because Muramasa is still the best sword, because it's just physical damage. You can use this. You would probably use this. Most people would probably use this. If you've got this, I'd recommend that as your main sword option. Apart from that, aren't really that many other things. You could use Sword of Lost Souls. If you've got that, I'm pretty sure it's free. And other options, there aren't really that many, honestly. There are a decent amount of good swords, so just kind of look at what swords you've got. One thing I want to note, this sword you could use if you want him to be a full tank. If you don't have his paid sword, you could just put this on, and this could be good enough for a tank, and give him a bunch of guard skills, every single guard skill, and this sword, it could be decent. So that's your tank option for free-to-play players. If you don't have it, it's from a very old event. I think it's in the one of the tabs. I think it's from Zoglus event, so you can get that. Other options, I don't think there's really anything else here that I'm excited about. So those are the sword options. Other options, if you're using him for PvE, I think the easiest option is obviously going to be Trishula. That's a no-brainer, obviously. But there's actually one that I just thought about. This one. This claw, actually pretty amazing. It's a Godforged claw. If you have this at max level, it's one of the best claws. It is the best claw for fire units in the game, but it's only for fire skill damage. But it is so good. You could put this on him for a dual wield build if you need the damage. And even in PvP in arena, you could use this claw and a sword for maximum dual wield damage, but you probably want an armor in arena, so I probably wouldn't recommend that, but it's still a very solid claw. One other option, you could have this sword, this claw I mean, and then your other weapon can be the Scarlet Blade for the damage cap, because you're getting 40% fire skill damage from that claw, and then the Scarlet Blade can be your physical damage cap. Because he's a dual wield unit in PvE, that's going to do him pretty well. So those are a few options that I can think of. Trishula and that Fire Claw. Other options, there are kind of other build options you could do, like you could put on a bow and do a crit build. You could always do that, that's available. You could do that if you want. Other machine options, you could put on this if you want some damage, but it's thunder, so I wouldn't really recommend doing that. And I don't think there's any other good fire machines. This one's not bad. That one's not terrible, it's from an event, but they're not that great. Spears, I haven't looked at spears. Something I was talking about earlier is you could put on a spear in arena to make him more tanky, but if you've got his paid sword, then you don't really need to do that. And there are other sword options like that event sword from the Zoglus event. That one's a pretty good alternative and probably one I would recommend over a spear, because you're missing out on a lot of sword damage boosts. But another thing you could do technically is have a spear on his second weapon, but I just don't think it's a good idea to do that. So I don't think I would recommend a spear. Hammer, maybe you could, this isn't terrible, it's a Godforge hammer, but it depends on your options again, because you could put on a hammer if you really want to. If you've got a good hammer, and it's your best weapon, then sure, you can do it if you want. Nothing's stopping you. And you can put on hammer boost and high boost, you can do that. Actually not a bad idea. Could be okay. But, you know, axe as well. Axe, now I think about it, gonna be pretty amazing. This axe, pretty solid. Physical attacks, anti-fish type, counter damage, physical damage, break. It's a solid axe, and with the Grander C SSR arc that gives piercing and break and stuff when you have an axe equipped, it's going to be decent. One thing I don't know is if this unit can have good break. I don't think he's going to have any good break, but could be something you could test. So those are all recommended equipments I can think of right now, but my build for PvE, for the moment, I'm obviously going to be going with his paid sword, but the second one, I haven't really decided. For a maximum damage cap build, you would go for Scarlet Blade, but if you need the damage, then for the moment, I'm just considering the Claw for the most damage, so this seems good for the moment, but obviously there's better options. You could go Trishula if you're attacking someone that has high fire resistance. You can put on Trishula. You have a lot of options, like I said, so this isn't the best option. This is something that I'm going to be using for testing purposes, and then probably going to change it around once we get to it. Now, the accessories. So, his paid accessory is good, right? But I don't think I would use it in PvE, because PvE he's going to mostly be about his damage and DPS, so this accessory I'll only really use in Arena, so I wouldn't actually use this in PvP. So, other options. We have so many options. It depends on your equipment that you're using, it depends on your weapons, because if you're using a sword, which you should be, then this is probably going to be very good. I would actually recommend that, so I'm going to put that on. But if you're using Trishula, then you could put on this accessory right here. This one's a pretty good one. If you have Trishula equipped or any machine, that would be a good option too. Other options, you could put on more damage cap, actually would be a good idea for PvE, because if using a dual wield, which you should be in PvE, then this will help his DPS and damage cap. I might consider that, but for the moment, I kind of just want to go for damage and movement speed. This is from a collab, but if you've got it, then it's okay too. This one, that's on Nael, so I guess I can't really use that. This one, yes, actually, good. I might consider using that. Arena build, I don't think I'm going to talk about his arena build right now. Maybe I will. We'll talk about that. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. This one, maybe. But for now, I think I'm just going to go for that. This one. Yeah, this is fine. This build for the moment for PvE seems good to me. He is both PvP and PvE. He can be good in both places. 3000 strength already, that's pretty good. I haven't tested him yet, I don't really know too much about him, but when I was reading his skills and looked at his kit, he's got things that are both good for against bosses and good against arena, so he seems good. So this is my PvE build. Now let's change this up for a single wield build or a build for arena. If you were to use him in arena, I would highly recommend an armor, but he can't equip an armor, which is okay, that's fine, it doesn't matter, because you can just put on armor equip. He can equip clothes, but I wouldn't recommend that, but this is okay. You could put this on. Actually, that would be a pretty good idea, honestly. In Arena, you could have his paid sword, or one good sword, and this God-forged cloth as well. Allow him to do even more damage and take less damage and have more movement speed. That's actually pretty good. There aren't really that many other good clove options, but armors, he can't equip an armor, but you could turn him into a tank. You know the tank armors we have that take less physical damage. The gold armor that's God Forged that take 20% less physical damage. That one's pretty good. If you want him to be a full tank, I would recommend that. Accessories are going to be kind of similar, but if I was using him in Arena, I always have one revive accessory. So for Arena, I would go for his paid accessory, definitely, and a revive accessory. That's going to be my build for Arena for his accessories, but if you don't have his paid accessory, then I would still recommend one revive accessory. Then the other one can be most likely one of these accessories for damage if you want him to be a damage dealer in Arena. If you don't, and you just want him to tank, then just one of the tanking accessories. Like, we have a few, but not too many. Best ones that I can think of are ones that I use on other tank units in Arena. Main examples being this one is pretty solid. That could help, actually, pretty good. And that's not terrible either. Just anything that allow him to take less damage. This one, pretty suitable, because it's a human type, and he synergizes well with human types. This one, really good, and it does give the resistances that you need, so I would highly recommend this accessory. So you could put this accessory on instead of his paid accessory, or you could put this on instead of a revive accessory, up to you, but I still like having as many revives as possible. If you're using him as a full tank, you could lose out on revive and try and make him even more tanky so he doesn't die at all. This one is great. I would probably use that. I use that on most tanks. So yeah, that's kind of it for recommended equipments and accessories and stuff. A lot more to talk about here, considering he has a lot of different build options, and it depends on where you're using him in. I don't know what his damage is going to be like single wield in PvE, but it's not going to be competitive compared to dual wield, so definitely need dual wield in PvE, but he does have dual wield in his kit already. And then if you're using him in Arena, you probably want him single wield with the equipments that I mentioned. So for the moment, we're going to be going with this build for PvE, mostly focused on damage. And let's see how he performs. Let's awaken him as many times as possible. And then I will use him with Council of 10, and then we'll try him out and see how he performs. We'll also try him out in the training stage as well to see the difference. I guess it's probably not going to be any different. I was hoping one of his paid equipments would give some resistance to illness, but I don't think they do. I'm pretty sure they don't. Would have made a lot of sense if his accessory did, but that would have been too strong if it did. Let's do this one as well. I don't know how I got so many souls. I did farm the event quite a bit, and I got a lot of points, so that's probably why. So close to level 53. Okay, let's try him out now. We're going to be going to put him in this team with Council 10 and see what he does. See how he performs by himself. Well, here's the thing though, is this game has so many good units, and you can build any unit in any way you want as long as you have the learnable skills from Arcs. And yeah, it's funny that Spirit Maiden 3 is still the best unit in the game. I don't know why. Well, here's the thing, here's my theory, right? Let's get into this stage. Here's my theory, is those broken units are on accident. That's my theory, is they, I don't know, maybe they made the unit and they didn't realize their full potential. Let's try out this unit now. And it's the same for collab units. Skill stocks are, base skill stocks are going to be 5, 3, and 2, so that's okay. Let's try skill 1 first. Oh, okay. I'm just realizing he has Human Slayer. How do they die so fast? The damage is through the roof right now. I gotta try a different stage. Yeah, well, here's the thing about this game is it's a problem. There's limited things that haven't came back in a long time. Let's do this again. Like, I'll give you a few examples on OP meta things. Like, Amelia is still probably the strongest mage in Arena, even though she's a few years old and she's never had a rerun in her entire life of this game. If you don't have her, if you weren't playing years ago, then you don't have this unit and you're missing out on the meta unit, but it's just how it is. It's funny, because some of these collab units can be utterly broken. Very rarely you will get a collab unit that is just completely, just ridiculously strong. And we have a few of these. Like Amelia and Roy are still incredibly strong. Yeah, Amelia wasn't used very much when she came out, but I think the reason why she got so strong was probably her 5th enhance, and then people realizing that her damage is just insane. And some other units like Jen, still amazing. And collab units in general usually are either going to be okay, average, or insanely broken. Like Luke, still broken. He's still OP. Let's do this again. I didn't even see what happened. Things died so quickly. Yeah, V is still broken. V can still be meta to some extent for ailments. He's still the best ailment applicator unit. Let's try his skill 3. 1 skill 3. Does it kill the boss? If not, how much damage does it do? Things just died instantly. This is surprising me, like, a lot. This is ridiculous. Let me go. I'm gonna go to the god type stage, because in that stage he won't have Slayer, so it'll be more it'll be more fair if I do that. I put V in my arena attacking team recently, because you'll see why once we get to the showcase for Freya. Let's go to this stage instead, because he's not going to have god type Slayer, is he? No. So he should do a lot less damage. Now I can actually properly show his skills. So there you go. How much damage now? Average damage. Makes sense. Okay, so this time I'm just going to be spamming his skill 3 just to see what it does. Okay. You're seeing how good this S3 is. It's so fast. Yeah, you see that 28,000? That was the plus 100% strength randomly happening. That does increase his damage by quite a bit, honestly. This could be pretty amazing in Arena. I just keep mentioning Arena. Let's do this again. Haven't properly tried them yet. I want to try a special out too. I'm going to pay more attention to these skills now. So, skill 1, let's try that first. So it's long range, obviously, decent damage. Does it have piercing? Yes, it does. It's similar to skill 1s that we've seen on other units, like Vayne, Yuri, other units. There are definitely other units, I don't want to name every single one, but you get the idea. Basically just a straight line, you can use it from anywhere, pierces is great, usually. I don't know if you can use him to spam skill 1 in Arena for insane damage. Good point. Let's try skill 2 now. Okay, I want to see how fast you can spam it as well. Hey, it groups them together. That's good to know. And then skill 3 is just the best. Okay, you know, what I'm seeing so far, skills are pretty fast. Skill 1, we've seen on other units before. Pretty good. Skill 2 can group enemies together, so that's actually pretty good. And then skill 3 is just the broken one. Let's do it one more time, and then afterwards I'm going to see what his special looks like. He would do a lot more damage against human type enemies, but they die so fast. I like that skill 3 a lot. That's really good. I think it's going to be a great skill. That's pretty spammable too. Spam this as well. Yeah, you know what? Oh yeah, Starn has the same skill 1 as well. Normal attacks does 4, 6. Yeah. Okay. It seems good to me so far. Damage wise, you saw he was hitting 47,000 damage cap normally against those other human type enemies, so that would mean that his base damage cap would be 47,000, I think. Actually, because I have the arc equipped for more damage caps, that's going to be different. Let's go on the other stage and try out his special to see what that looks like, and then we'll try out a more damage focused build. I think he can definitely reach 100,000 dual wields. That's going to be funny. Incredibly funny. So let's just go to testing and use him. Actually, let me just put him in here for now. I will put on, let me do the special team here. Doesn't really matter who I use. I just need the arcs, and that's it. I guess the weaker the better, right? Let's just do that. Just to see what his special does. The hit counts and the damage should be okay, should be solid, I think, but I don't think it's going to do very much, honestly. So, Great War of Ruin, and then Theophilus, and then use the special. Against the boss. Go. 71,000 is pretty solid, 91,000 on crit. It can just barely kill the boss, but that's okay, it's not terrible. Best fire units, PvE, well, Yeah, the best fire unit, definitely Starn, but people forget about Riven. I still think Riven is one on the better end as well. Riven's a very good fire DPS, but Riven is a questionable unit because he's a bit weird, you know. He has no weapons, and his damage cap's high, but his hit count's low. He's a weird one, but still, I think Starn is definitely the best fire DPS unit. Claude may come close. I mean, I definitely think he's gonna come higher than Starn when he has his 3 skill thing active, when he uses first 3 skills. But after that, I don't know. Because the good thing about Starn is he has good break as well. Adele is kind of fallen off at this point. I don't really use Adele anymore. His DPS is okay, but Starn is just better than Adele at this point. It's funny. So let's start moving over to testing. I want to try to go for as much damage cap as possible in this team. So we're going to be doing... I'm trying to think. I'm going to do... Yes. I know what I'm going to do. Different stage. I still haven't done the story, don't judge me. I want to do it, it's just... Once it's done, there's no more story. So... I want there to be more story. Let's go to which one is it? The arena. I still haven't gotten Sarah to 6th enhance, not the summer version. So this guy, he's a knight type, I believe, or a soldier, which one, I don't know, it doesn't matter, it's fine. And what I want to do is just see how much damage we're doing right now. In the first 3 skills. So he's a knight type. This should be doing a lot. We're going to be using skill 3 2 times just to see how much this does. 90,000 already. That's ridiculous because he's not even fully built yet. This is just a team for, you know, focused damage and damage caps, but it can be even higher than this. Do it again. He almost died. 90,000, and he's hitting damage cap pretty well consistently, apart from that one. That was great. That was great. So, yes, damage caps. Let me do it again and just show the difference. Let me do it again. But this time I'm going to use 3 skill 1s, so then I can use the skill 3 and see the difference in damage cap, because he's going to be losing out on 25,000 damage cap. Then you can kind of have an idea of what his damage cap is going to be normally. Wrong. Do this. Yeah. No. Whatever. So we've used 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to use a skill 3. I can't see the numbers. Numbers keep disappearing. 50... Wait, I think I saw a 57 or something. Crit, I think. So, that's still okay, honestly. His damage cap without that skill that gives him 25,000 damage cap for his first 3 skills is still decent enough to be competitive in terms of DPS, I think. If there were to be a time trial right now, I definitely think he would be the unit that you want to use because he can use Trishula. And if it was a time trial with multiple waves, he would just clear them incredibly fast as long as, you know, he had a close the gap skill. I think his skill 3, his skill 1 is a long range, skill 3, his skill 2 has some lunge to it, skill 3 I don't think has any. Frontal, long range, he doesn't have any close the gap skills. Okay. So movement speed is going to be useful on him. Okay. Well, that was fun. I think for PvE, just from this testing alone, already seems very strong. Let's test him in the unit test stage thingy. Unit test play quest. Still love saying that. In this one. So he is now still dual wield with base skills, but also has this limited arc. Would be nice to have this, but I'm not going to be pulling for it. I'm committed. I am staying with my words this time. I'm refusing to do any more summons just for an arc, because I don't care too much about it. So this stage, 74,000. 74,000. Special. 74, oh right, yeah, I remember. His special gets the 25,000 damage caps too. Yeah, there you go, that's a better example. He's basically hitting 50,000 damage cap. Base damage cap. Which could be increased further from a UR arc or accessories and potentially Scarlet Blade and obviously skills like Giant Killing 2 and Machine Mega Boost. So his damage cap could be pretty high, could be increased pretty well. Use this again just to see the difference. Now it's hitting for 52,000. Not that great, honestly. I don't think I'm ever going to use a special. Yeah, I'm really not. It's not that great. Skill 1. It's good. Let's test out the range on these skills. Okay. Yeah, since skill 2 and skill 3 are both frontal, you need to be in front of the enemy. If you're like right here, you can't use it until you're in front of them. His skill 2, however, jumps in towards the enemy. So if you're like down here, once you walk close enough to him, you can then use it. But you can't do the same for his skill 3, you need to be literally right in front of him. Obviously skill 1 is long range, so it can be used anywhere. Good to know. I think there can be a synergy right here. Like if I had a combo, I would probably use a skill 2 to get close to the enemy, and then use a skill 3 and start spamming your skill 3s. And then if they move or something, you can then use a skill 2 to get back in and then use skill 3, you know. You get it. Pretty solid, honestly. He's hitting damage cap with base skills, but that's because he's hitting Slayer damage. That's the only reason. But his damage is still solid when he's not hitting Slayer. Interesting unit. I definitely think his damage potential is going to be pretty solid, pretty high. It's just his DPS, once he's lost out on those 25,000 damage caps after using his 3 skills, not as high, but maybe that still makes him... Yeah, I think that damage cap still make him comparable to other DPS units, honestly. The fact that his skill 3 has 21 hits, single wield, and with dual wield is 42, that's just very good, and it's so fast as well. I can imagine, what if you were to use him as a dual wield DPS in Arena? That would be fun. Use his skill 3 to completely melt enemies would be ridiculous because it's 42 hits. That would be funny. So, anything else, I guess? Let's go to the event. There is the Tower of Trials backup. I do want to do that, but it's boring. It's very boring. I just speed clear it with my team. I guess I can show it, but it's just a fun team. It's not an ideal team. People have already started it. Yeah, this is just my fun team. Units that I enjoy. Nael, obviously, #1 unit. Ryvern because I like him. He's a fun unit too, he's fun. I like Lagravos, so I use him, he's fun too. And then Moana's just a support that I wish I could use more often. So let's go to the event. Just talk a bit about this event, and then I want to go into Arena a bit. Yeah, we'll go into Arena soon. So this event, I still enjoy this event, it's just there's never really that much to it, like it's not that engaging. There is a story which is just there isn't much to it, it's pretty basic, but I still like that it has some kind of a story. The event stages are still very easy and basic, but once you log in today, all you need to do is just do the stages and do these tours. And if you've been farming the event and doing the stages, you will have a bunch of these skip tickets. So you can easily get the tours done by doing that. Which I did do today before the stream. I just farmed the event completely and got everything, pretty much. Mission rewards have been updated again to add more stuff, which is great. I'm glad they're giving more ultra clusters out. That's something that we really needed. More crystals. Love it. We didn't use any free crystal today, that's great. And then that's pretty much it for the event. Still the daily stuff. Trading space, I did look at that earlier, there isn't really anything else interesting, so yeah, there's not much else to really say about the event, honestly. It's not much to it, but I think what's going to happen is next week on Thursday it's going to be the same thing. They're going to be releasing a unit and an arc on a new banner, and the event's going to get updated with a new extra stages, and one stage that gives you a temple ticket for the newest banner, and just a bunch of rewards in the tours and trading space and missions and stuff. One thing that is new is item creation. This is basically just the same thing as, you know, what we've gotten in other events. You get these materials and then you can draw in here to get all the materials. It's the same thing, they just called it something different. It's not actually anything special, but it's just extra rewards, so can't complain with more rewards, can you? I will always take more rewards. There is a weapon here, and if you want Claude's prism, it's right here. I will be getting that once I farm the event a bunch more. And then this one is next week. So yeah, that's pretty much the event. I don't think there's anything else to it. The event does get more interesting in the last week or so, because towards the event I think there's going to be some kind of special event, so that's going to be fun, hopefully. I've heard it's kind of like a mini maze or something. That should be fun. We haven't had a time trial in a while, but I'm okay with that because time trials are just stressful and I don't like pushing too hard on those. So that's everything I wanted to cover. Now, one thing I want to do now is start talking a bit about Freya, because as you know, in the last stream we didn't manage to get Freya, but I did get her this Tuesday. I haven't had that much time to test her properly yet, but let's at least have a look at what I have done for her. So I did get her SC and everything maxed out. I still need to get her 6th enhanced, so I only have 5th enhanced skills right now. I just need to level her up and get this. I will be doing that because I've got a lot of Splendors of the World, and I might as well do that. That's worth doing. This equipment is fine. The build isn't final because I'm still teaching skills on her. I'm mostly focusing on damage because he's a mage and MP is important. That's kind of it. But the main reason I want to talk about Freya is Arena. So she has Human Geyser, right? And you may see my team right now and think it's a bit strange, but it is definitely strange. It's not the best team, but this team has been pretty fun for me. It's been working. And let me just show my build. So mostly focused on magic damage, as you can see. But here's where it gets a bit strange. Hey, what's a bit weird is that there's only 2 accessory slots, so it's hard to fit everything in. Her paid accessory is very good, so I want to have that in. But she needs casting speed and a lot of it if you want her to be good in PvP, and she doesn't have any. So you kind of need Cultist Pendant. She doesn't really work without Cultist Pendant, honestly. She is missing out on a Revive accessory. I would like to have it, but I just can't really fit it in. My alternative would probably be to take out her paid accessory and put on a Revive accessory, but I just don't want to do that. If you don't have a paid accessory, you could do that. Go ahead, that's probably a good idea. So I have focused on Thunder Magic for the moment. A lot of MP and Thunder Magic, mostly focused on Thunder Magic damage. She's got Human Geyser. That's the main reason why I think she's going to be decent in PvP, because of Human Geyser. And her damage for a mage is pretty solid, but not the highest. One thing I did realize is she doesn't have auto recast, and we can't put on auto recast. So once she dies, she loses out on recast, and you have very slow casting speed. There isn't really a way around it, so we kind of have to deal with that. I hope she doesn't die, but she does die a lot. And then a lot of damage. Sorcery Awaken I have just because I think it might be useful. Terra Mouth because this team's mostly focused on ailments and damage, so that's the build for the moment. It's not perfect. I thought this would be a good idea because if you didn't know, this rare arc that everyone has, Thunder Magic damage plus 15% and Thunder Magic cost minus 1 MP, and it gives Thunder Magic a chance to stun. So that's the main one here. Thunder Magic can stun, and then you also have V in the team for ailments. You know, give all enemies cast stats ailment resistance debuff, and he has a Anula Mouth, and this equipment is just funny. It's just hilarious. So I've been trying to go for an ailment team, and let's just see how this has been performing. Now, I'm not going to be going against any teams like this because I know I lose. I just want to go up against an easier team that I can auto, and I'll show you the teams that I've been going up against. This team, the tank team, I got nothing to worry about, so let's just see how this has been performing and Freya's damage, because I'm sure some people will be interested in that. And then next Thursday on the Part 4 stream, I will showcase Claude in Arena, because I should have him built by then. So, if you notice, Freya's normal attacks is a teleport, and I was quite disappointed when I saw that, but it is quite bad. Honestly, this team is pretty fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this team. It works. It's not the best, I could have a better team, but it works. So, this is still fun. Hey, we've gone through most of the stream already, so if you want to go back and watch other parts that you missed, then it's going to be uploaded as a video once it's finished anyways, with timestamps later on today. But we're almost finishing up this stream. For the rest of the stream, I just want to have fun with Freya in Arena just to see how she's performing. She's doing pretty well so far. You can see her damage isn't insane. It's probably not as high as you would want it to be, but the fact that she can stun with that arc, I think it's fun. I think it's decent. So let's go to damage report. You can see her damage, not insane. She does better against certain teams that I've attacked, but it's okay damage. I just think this team's funny. This team, Ailment team with a mage, I'm not going to be keeping this team forever. This is just a team I'm using for the moment just for fun, and it works, so why not? Let's do however many more. Sure. Only problem is her MP recovery isn't that great. And once she dies, it can be a bit of a problem, but I have done this team. I have fought this team and won auto. You see Lagraine is stunned right now. It's so funny, ailments, if the defense haven't built towards defending ailments. It's just funny. Now she should be able to cast. You can see it's taken some time because she doesn't have recast on right now because she died. Now she casted it, took some time, but now it's going to start doing some damage. Decent damage. And a chance to stun as well. It's okay. There's a lot of stuns going on, it's pretty fun. There we go, that's better. You see, the damage numbers are quite low, 400 damage numbers. Quite low, honestly. It's not the best, but this team isn't... She isn't even fully built yet. I mean, she does have a build, but not 6 enhanced yet. She could have 10 more SC, you know, spent on skills and more damage. And this could be a more viable team with, like, more damage, you know. Still okay damage. I could use the SR arc to allow the magic to do less damage. I did remove ultimate casting because it just makes it too expensive. So who else have I been able to auto with this team? If you're watching it, I'm not being a bully, I'm just doing this for fun, just to show off this team. That's it. I'm not a competitive player, I just do arena for fun. Freya's fun. I like mages, so I'm bound to want to use Freya. An alternative is I could remove V and put out a different unit like Nael, or some kind of support unit or something. I expect Freya to die pretty fast here. And then Freya could use that SR arc for the magic to require less MP. I think she should do decent damage this time against this defense, honestly. She doesn't do the best against tank teams, but it does work. Especially if she stuns. Summer Sarah's still doing the most damage, but she has to be in here. Because having Freya as the only damage dealer is just not going to be enough. It's going to be too low. Unless I were to, you know, have a team that's focused more on damage. It could work, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. None of the units so far, and you've spent around 30,000, is quite sad, but just remember we've still got some time, and we can get more tickets. If you are free to play, then it is more difficult to get anything, but just hope that you can get something from tickets, because that would be great. What I've been doing is doing the daily paid single pools, and they have been good. But yeah, people using them already. People that are free to play are gonna always struggle in games like this, for sure. Yeah, Lenneth is pretty great. I do think so far. That's the thing though, is all 3 units so far are pretty strong. And if I were to pick one unit, which would I pick? Yeah, I can't really pick one because they're all strong. I want all of them anyways. Auto against this team might need a bit of help, honestly. Well, she did cast, so maybe that's good enough. Yeah, I don't think so. Once Eliza uses Big Bang, kinda gotta run away. Press one button and boom. They're all dead. Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's all I needed to do. Summer Sarah's so funny. I do want Freya to do more damage, but the good thing about this team is the elements, honestly. The stun, if she can stun, it's just great. And Terra Mouth helps with some damage too. See, Eliza got stunned from that. Wow. There you go, there's more damage. We like to see that. So, it's an interesting team, honestly, it works. It's just not a meta team by all means, it's just a fun team that I'm using for the moment. I'm definitely going to be switching off this team once I start building Claude, for sure, because I want to make a team focused around him once he's built. But for now, I focused on Freya. What's your damage this time? Yeah, she did more damage that time. Let's do one more, and then you kind of got the idea by then, and then we'll finish up soon because I think I've done everything. Honestly, there's not too much to look at in these updates, like there's nothing crazy. There's another tank team. You can see how she performs here. Gonna perform okay, but her damage... I think her damage is okay. I think her damage in Guild versus Guild might be more noticeable, honestly. And once I have a built 6th Enhance, it's gonna be a bit better too. Gonna cast it now. She should do. Cast it now. Yep. Gravity Blessing. I haven't tried her Dark Magic in Arena yet, because I just thought that Thunder Magic for the stun is probably a better idea. And I remembered from the testing that I did that her Dark Magic has a lower damage modifier but higher hits than her Thunder one. So I decided to go for the Thunder one instead. And Thunder is kind of more useful than Dark Magic in Arena because of most people using Summer Sarah, and Gorm is a ice tank, so I just think Thunder Magic's going to be more useful. This will take a while, but still fun to see. She's not doing insane damage, but it's still solid. And now, I actually want to do one thing after I've done this, is compare her to a little someone else called Lenneth, because you could just do the same thing but for Lenneth. So, I'm going to compare the two, and I probably shouldn't, but for fun I'm going to do it anyways. Because Lenneth could play the same role as Freya, and I realised that, and I tried them out, and it was still kind of similar, like not that much different, honestly. So I'll try that. I'm wondering what the damage number is going to look like at the end of this battle. She has done quite a lot of damage because she's able to cast a lot. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's not terrible. She did kill that Gorm decently well. How much damage did she do this time? Should be decent, right? Took quite some time. Yeah, there you go, 187,000. So she can do decent damage. Her damage was okay, but it's not comparable to certain other mages. Like Amelia, her damage just way higher. I gotta say it. Let's try an alternative that you could do, which is Lenneth. So for comparison's sake, I'm just going to shove in Lenneth, which I've already passed, and I already have a build set up for him. All I got to do is put on the staff and robe. Just a similar team, similar builds, and then go up against the same guy, defense team, and just spar the same thing and see what happens. Just because I'm trying to compare, if you were to use both as a Thunder Mage for this specific purpose, she may not be the best option, but I still think her damage is pretty solid. And she's got Human Geyser, which is kind of the main selling point, is Human Geyser. Lenneth is still going to be better, obviously. I'm not comparing the two, but still, just want to see how this performs as well. He doesn't have the same magic, but X-Radia, still good. Yeah, I was trying to see which one performed better the other day, and it was kind of difficult. Interesting. Let's just see how this plays out. Yeah, because Lenneth doesn't have Human Geyser, that's why I think Freya does have the edge in magic damage in PvP over Lenneth. Because Human Geyser is just going to be great, and if you build for a lot of damage, it's probably going to be better. Yeah, you're seeing lower damage numbers, but he does have double hits for magic, so that's one thing to remember. Okay. The damage numbers are just a bit low for me. I mean, they were with Freya as well, but this is just even worse, even lower. But the stuns though, look at the stuns, look how many people are stunned right now. Almost everyone. Apart from Granados, who doesn't want to be stunned. Jan and Sarah are stunned right now. They can't move, they can't do anything. It's funny. I love it. Yeah, this is definitely taking longer than the other battle. Gorm is now stunned as well. Fun. Granados, you can't heal. You can keep trying, but you can't heal anything. Stop bothering. There you go. Yeah, that was, there you go. You can see the numbers there. It's okay, it's still good. It's comparable to Freya, honestly. But that did take longer, so I'm assuming, yeah, it did more damage, but that's because the battle took longer. And he was able to cast faster as well. So, that's just kind of my experience on Freya in Arena, is she is actually pretty solid and can be interesting. Let me just go back to this build and use her one more time. Let's just have one more battle. Let's see who we can find. Someone that I know I've done auto before with this team. I could do that one. Fine, I'll do that one. This will be the last one. So an alternative to this team, like I said earlier, I'm considering changing out V and removing the Elements team. And then having having Nael or Healer or something instead of V is probably a good idea. And then changing out the Arc on Freya. She died. She's dead. Summer Sarah's just doing all the work this time. Freya just did hardly anything. She casted one time, but it wasn't really good timing. Okay, well, she's okay, honestly. I don't think I'm going to be using her that much longer, because I just don't think it's good enough to use. So I might switch up this team a little bit, but isn't that crazy. She's still fun in arena, it's just not the best. I would probably change out V if I could put on like Spirit Mode and Thoria or something instead, and then change this out for the SR arc, this one, because it makes it cost 50% less. That would be a good thing. I could do that. I'm considering that, but I haven't done that yet because I still need to build Freya a bit more, so I might do that. I don't know. Also got to build Claude as well, so that's going to be fun once I have him built fully. I'm not going to build him instantly. I will try to build him gradually over the week, but I have been playing other games and have other stuff to do, so that's just going to be a gradual thing. But by next Thursday, expect him to be built decently well, and I will be showcasing him in Arena next Thursday. And I do have both of his paid equipment, so he should be performing pretty well. So that is everything in this update, I believe. I don't think there's anything else in the news that I really need to look at. It's just the event updates and the new banner and stuff. That's kind of it. Tower trials, all that thing. So my conclusion for this update, well, honestly, I'm pretty excited about this unit, and I'm glad that we managed to got him. He is going to be a good PvP unit. I don't know how he's going to rate compared to, like, the meta arena units right now. He might rate close to them, but I don't see him being any better than Summer Sarah. He might be comparable to Jian as a tank, but I don't think so. I'm just trying to think, you know, off the top of my head without any testing in arena with him. I still think he's going to be solid. Maybe, as a guess, a 9.1 or something, but that's just throwing numbers out there. I think he's going to be good in arena, and a DPS unit too. In PvE, he's going to be great as well, so I just think his value is on the higher end, and I can see newer players being able to benefit from Claude a lot more than, let's say, Lenneth Valkyrie probably, and Freya maybe, but she's a mage. If you don't have a mage, then Freya would be great to have. But all three of these units are actually very strong. If I were to pick which banner out of these three to pull on, it's up to you. If you care about Arena the most, probably go for Claude, because I think he's going to be an amazing tank and can do good damage in Arena too, so if you care about that, then do that. Or just go for the unit you like, because they're all strong at the end of the day. If you need a mage, go for Freya. If you want Lenneth as a tank or support, then go ahead, it's up to you, but I would still recommend to save most of your crystals for part 4, because then every banner will be available at that time. I'm not trying to hype up the part 4 unit, I'm just saying that once part 4 releases, we'll have an option to choose out of every single banner which one you pull on, so that's what I would recommend doing. So, very good unit, I'm excited about trying him out. Actually, very solid unit, interesting unit. He can be kind of a basic, boring DPS to some people, but to me, since I enjoy Arena so much, he is an interesting unit to me, so I think he's going to be a pretty good unit, especially with his paid equipment. If you get those, it's going to be great. Limited arc, I'm not really that excited about this arc. I think it's got a good trait. That's kind of the only thing I'm happy about this arc, the only thing I'm looking forward to, if I do get this arc, would be the trait. And I'm still missing the part 1 arc. I think part 1 arc is actually my favourite out of the 3 so far, because of the resist damage skill. I really want to have this. That's kind of the only reason, I think. So, I will be pitying this guaranteed if I don't get it in the next week. That's a guarantee. So, that's kind of what I think of the banners. So far, Collab's been pretty fun. Part 3, all of these parts, 1, 2, and 3 have been kind of similar, just adding more to the event and another banner. Nothing too exciting yet to the event, or anything like that, but if you can, if you do get any of these units, then it is going to be a fun time for you for sure. But if you're someone that's free to play or someone that is missing out on these units or all of these limited things, then you're definitely going to feel a lot of pain because it is a collab and it's limited and there's 4 banners. It's going to be quite difficult to get anything or everything from this banner. So yeah, some people may not be happy with this, but someone like me, I think this collab's pretty fun, it's pretty good, and I'm looking forward to what Part 4 brings, but I kind of know what it's going to bring. I think it's just going to bring another banner and an update to the event. I think that's kind of it, but that's kind of expected. I think Part 4 is something to look forward to. I'm going to be saving for it. All of my free crystals and stuff I'm going to be saving for that for now, and we'll see how that goes. So, I think that's everything for me. Don't need to talk about anything else, honestly. Claude just needs more testing. I just need to test him a lot more, and I'll be doing that over the next week. And hopefully, I'll be able to get some limited arcs from Daily Pool, but I don't have any hope for that. So, we'll see how it performs over the next week, and then I'll be back next Thursday. So, I'll add the timestamps to this stream very soon today. It's damn hot today. It has been over the past few days. It's quite painful indoors, so much hot, but it's fine. Chilling out in this game. I still think this game's fun. Some people I've heard haven't been enjoying this game too much, but I still think this game's the main game I'm going to cover for a long time, just because this game's still unique to me. So, I'll leave it there. Don't want to talk too much, and I'll see you next Thursday. I'll add those timestamps real soon, so yeah. Hopefully you have some good luck if you manage, if you do plan to do any pulls. Anyone that gets anything new from the tickets, you're stupidly lucky. I didn't get anything at all from these tickets. All of these tickets that I've done so far, nothing. But some people have it worse, some people have it better. So I'll see you next Thursday around the same time, guaranteed. So yeah, I'll see you then.